Your kid just asked why they can't have the same shoes as everyone else. You're staring at the price tag thinking, so, shoes or electricity? Should we walk in the dark? Imagine telling neighbors, yeah, no lights, but hey, these sneakers glow in the dark. But here's what parents miss. The kids who grow up with less don't end up with less. They end up scrappier, sharper, and often the ones everyone else ends up working for. Confidence doesn't come from having. It comes from becoming. Rich kids get confidence from their stuff. Your kids, they get it from duct tape, imagination, and the audacity to make things work when they shouldn't. That broken bike? Suddenly, it's your kid's first engineering project. They're out there with duct tape and a YouTube video performing surgery like it's Grey's Anatomy, Bicycle Edition. 3 hours later, it rides like new. Well, new-ish. It makes a noise like a dying cricket, but it moves. Mom, I fixed it. How? I have no idea, but it works. Or birthdays. Other kids unwrap store-bought cards. Your kid hands you a hand-drawn masterpiece where you got 3 arms. The extra ones for extra hugs. 0 budget, maximum impact, and that card stays on the fridge for 6 months. In games, Rich gets the new PlayStation release. Your kid beats the same game 17 ways, discovers every Easter egg, and recruits their sibling as a co-pilot who mostly just yells, "Jump now! That's a wall. Jump over it. That's not how walls work." It might look like deprivation, but they're stockpiling weird superpowers that Target can't sell you. Every no turns into a weird little yes if we get creative. And that's where the real magic is. Not in stuff, in skills. Which brings us to the words parents use, because how you frame it can either crush your kid's confidence or build it brick by brick. Reframe the narrative. Kids don't just listen to what we say, they inhale it. Every word becomes part of their operating system. So, if they hear, "We can't afford that," their brain files it under scarcity mode, like, "Money is this evil dragon guarding the castle, and you're too broke to slay it." But swap the script and suddenly everything shifts. Not, "We can't afford that," but, "That's not in our plan right now." Not, "Maybe when we have money," but, "Let's figure out another way." See the difference? One makes them feel powerless. The other makes them feel like they got options. Like, money is just the gas. And half the time you're driving a rusty minivan with the check engine light on. Columbia research shows that scarcity-focused language literally rewires kids into scarcity mindsets. Meanwhile, agency-focused language tells their brain, "We've got options." So instead of teaching them, "Life is a closed door," you're teaching them, "Life is a puzzle with hidden keys," which sets us up for the bigger question. If words are this powerful, what happens when we actually talk money with our kids? Turn financial transparency into trust. There's a huge difference between saying, "We don't have money for that," and saying, "We're choosing to spend our money on rent and food first." One sounds like panic. The other sounds like a plan. And here's the thing. Kids don't need to know you're wide awake at 2 a.m. whisper arguing with the Wi-Fi bill. They don't need your stress, but they do benefit from knowing money is finite and choices have trade-offs. MIT research backs this up. When kids get age-appropriate financial transparency, they don't feel more anxious, they feel more secure. Try it at the grocery store. "We got $100 for food this week. Want to help me make a list that fits?" And suddenly, your 8-year-old is acting like the Gordon Ramsay of budgeting. "Do we really need lettuce? Or can we free up funds for Oreos?" It's not poverty. It's participation. They're learning budgeting, math, and decision-making, all while arguing whether ice cream is a necessity. Welcome to Congress, but with sprinkles. And once you take the fear out of money, you can start showing them that abundance doesn't just come from cash. It comes from what you create together. Create abundance in non-monetary ways. Sure, you can't afford Disney World, but you can launch Magic Thursday, where everyone shows up to dinner in a full costume. Dad's a pirate, mom's a wizard, the toddler's the ketchup packet. You can't buy every book, but the library? That's basically a free treasure chest. And if you forget to return it, congratulations. You've accidentally bought a $35 book you didn't want. Here's the secret. Time is currency you can print. Attention is wealth you can generate. Imagination costs nothing and pays everything. Northwestern research shows kids' happiest memories aren't linked to spending. They're tied to moments of connection. It's the bedtime stories where they are the hero. At the end of the day, your kids won't remember what you couldn't buy them. They'll remember the life you created with them. And that becomes something bigger than fun memories. It becomes identity. If you're still here, Sticko's curious. What's the funniest we may do hack you've pulled off as a parent? Drop it in the comments. Bonus points if duct tape was involved. Build identity around character, not currency. Labels matter, and the worst one you can give your kid? We're the poor family. Nope. New script. We're the family that helps others. We're the family that solves problems. We're the family that make things fun, even when the Wi-Fi's down. Stanford research shows that kids who tie their identities to values instead of resources grow stronger self-esteem and a more stable sense of self. So when your kid shares half a PB&J with someone who forgot their lunch, celebrate it like they just won the Olympics. When they fix something broken, call them Chief Engineer of the Living Room. When they make everyone laugh at dinner, clap like they're auditioning at the Comedy Cellar, even if their entire routine is fart noises. Because you're not raising kids whose worth comes from price tags. You're raising kids who know they matter because of who they are. And once their identity is rooted, that's when the real training begins. Giving them skills money can't buy. Teach skills that money can't buy. While rich kids are off at fencing camp, your kid's learning how to fence with an actual fence post. They're learning to cook, to fix things, to negotiate, and to bounce back. These aren't cheap alternatives. These are skills money literally can't buy. Yale research shows that kids who build life skills early grow up more confident and adaptable than those who outsource everything to cash. Your kid who can whip up dinner from random pantry items, they're the college hero feeding roommates during finals. How did you make ramen taste like actual food? Answer: 17 ways to hack noodles, all powered by desperation. The one who fixes everything? Armed with duct tape and a PhD from YouTube University, they're saving friends hundreds while earning legend status on the group chat. And the ones who had to entertain themselves? That's the innovator. No iPad meant cardboard. And suddenly, the cat's getting cast in Star Wars without consent. While rich kids are learning tennis, yours were learning tenacity. While they practice piano, yours practiced perseverance. Different tracks, same finish line. Resilience. Because the rich kid calls someone when things break. Your kid, they become the someone people call. And here's the kicker. That's when the real pressure shows up, not from money, but from comparison. The comparison trap and how to escape it. Everyone else has. If you got a tween, you'll hear that phrase more often than you hear your own name. Sometimes it's shoes. Sometimes it's phones. Sometimes it's whatever bizarre water bottle's trending this week. And here's the truth. Don't minimize it with, those things don't matter. Because they do matter when you're 12 and trying to survive middle school without looking like you were dressed by a clearance rack committee. Middle school fashion rules are stricter than the NBA dress code. Instead, acknowledge and redirect. I get it. It's hard to have different things. What matters more to you about those shoes? The style or fitting in? Now you've opened a door. Together, you can problem solve, hunt secondhand, earn toward it, or make something cooler than what's in stores. Psychology Today backs this up. Kids who feel heard in their material wants, but guided toward value-based solutions, end up healthier with money and peer pressure. And once your kid sees they're not powerless in the comparison game, something clicks. They stop just asking for stuff and start asking how they can contribute. Build their contribution story. Kids don't need to feel expensive. They need to feel valuable. And tight budgets actually give them that chance. Little ones can help compare prices, which usually means loudly announcing in the store, "Mom, this one's cheaper," like you're on a game show. Older kids can research deals online and suddenly become the family's unofficial coupon hacker. And teens, they can earn part of what they want. This isn't child labor. It's identity training. And when your teen finally buys their own pair of name brand shoes with money they earned, that confidence slaps way harder than a gift. Because they're not just wearing sneakers, they're wearing proof. And those little wins, they snowball into something bigger, the kind of advantage no rich kid can buy. The success stories you're building. Kids raised with financial constraints but emotional abundance, they don't just make do. They grow up into something rare. They become the CEOs who actually understand resource management because they once ran a household budget with $20 in a coupon. They became the innovators who see solutions where others see obstacles because they once turned a broken toaster box into a spaceship. And they become humans who measure worth in impact, not income. They learned business from lemonade stands, patience from waiting, and creativity from boredom itself. It doesn't make them less. It makes them dangerous in the best way. And all of it leads to one kind of wealth money can't buy. Let's talk about that. The confidence money can't buy. Security isn't a bank balance. It's knowing you're loved even when dinner is just milk, ketchup, and questionable leftovers. It's the little rituals, Friday movie nights, Saturday pancakes, slightly burnt, but hey, charred edges mean extra love because your presence matters more than presents, and your belief in them matters more than anything money could buy. When your kids watch you handle money stress without shame, they learn the real lesson. Struggle isn't failure. Today doesn't lock tomorrow. That's earned confidence. Belief built on overcoming, not owning. And it can't be bought, faked, or taken away. Your kids don't need the best of everything. They need to know they're the best thing that happened to you. Cash disappears. Confidence compounds. The kid who knows they're valuable without expensive things becomes the adult who can't be bought. And that's worth more than anything money could purchase.